Hi everybody, it's Matt Graham from Klein Financial here again with another edition of Retirement and Estate Planning 101. Today's topic is, what's a RRIF and should you be RRIFing? And we're going to talk about that, but before I get going too far, we should probably just review quickly what a RRIF is. Now, a RRIF is just a four-letter acronym short for Registered Retirement Income Fund. And essentially, a RRIF is what you convert your RRSP into. Now, if you don't know what an RRSP is, I recommend that you head back to the previous video I did on RRSPs, watch it, and then rejoin this video afterwards. But essentially, the SP in RRSP is savings plan, and we're going to convert that when we're ready to start taking money at retirement into an IF income fund. They're both still registered with the government. The government will continue to defer any tax payments that you have to make on that money until you withdraw it. And you can keep the money invested in the exact same funds that you were invested in beforehand when it was an RRSP. So it's really sort of like kind of like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. It grows inside the cocoon, and then boom, when it's ready to fly, it becomes the RRIF and the income fund, and it's a butterfly now. But the big question for a lot of people is when should you convert this RRSP into a RRIF? When should you do that? And really, the short answer on this one is it depends. There really is no right or wrong answer for anyone. It all depends on your specific situation. So if you are recently retired, but you're still working part-time with one guy and you've got a couple contracts you're lining up as well, where you might still be receiving income, you may want to defer that RRIF for another year or two. Or on the other hand, if you want to retire, but you have no work pension at all whatsoever, you may want to start right away. Maybe you only worked for about 10 to 20 years somewhere where there was a pension, and now you want to combine that pension with a bit of other money. Maybe it does make sense to start moving money from a RRIF from an RSP over to your RRIF. But there's no one tried and true answer to this question. Really, this is something that's really, really important for you to discuss with somebody like me, your financial advisor, who knows your investments well. And then afterwards to back that up with some advice from your accountant. Why would you talk to me first? Well, the answer is pretty simple. I know your investments. I probably have a good idea of what has to happen, and I don't charge an hourly rate. So get all the hard work done with me without the hourly rate. Take that money direct over to your accountant, and he can just confirm that with you from there. Or she, I should say. So that's the basic ins and outs of a RRIF. Whether or not you should be doing it is really something you need to talk to your accountant about. But the other thing we have to talk about, and the reason I'm bringing it up now is because we're getting closer and closer to December. And if you are 71 years of age this year, the government of Canada says you have to, whether you have started or not, you now have to start withdrawing money from your RRSP. You've got to convert it into a RRIF, and you've got to start taking the minimum withdrawal, even if you don't want to. The government is tired of giving you a tax break, and they want some of that money back. And so what the government of Canada has said is, if you're 71 years of age, the minimum you have to withdraw this year is 5.28%. So if, for example, you have an RSP and it's got $100,000 in it, you need to convert that into a RRIF, and you need to take out a minimum of $5,280. Does that make sense? 5.28% on $100,000 is $5,280. That's the minimum you can take out right now, with one exception. The government of Canada does say that if you're 71 and you're married and your spouse is younger than you, you can take out the minimum withdrawal based upon their age and not yours. So if, for example, you're 71 and your spouse is 67, the minimum you have to take out would be 4.35%. or 400 or 4,350 on $100,000 again. So you could potentially be making a smaller withdrawal. The big question at that point becomes, why are you taking out a smaller withdrawal? Why do you want to do that? What's the specific reason? Is it because you're trying to save money in taxes? That might be helpful, but you might be penny wise and pound foolish. It really depends on your financial situation, which again is why it's so important to pick up the phone and have a conversation with someone like me about your RRIF and what you should be doing. Now, that's really the basic ins and outs of a RRIF. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please give me a call. I'm at 519-721-7254. Or if you prefer, send me an email at mac@kleinfinancial.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you again at the next episode.